Look at this, fam. We are live. Back from LVO. The odds makers didn't think I'd be alive, but I'm still breaking them all. I am here with Mr. Tom Ogden, Mr. Brian Horton. You guys can decide who they are individually. Move on.
Brian here.
Tom.
The better part is I still have your guys' name on there. So we're back from we're now at the official ITC end of the year after LVO. So I love it, Hunter. Eldar lost LVO. Nature is healing. So KR, since they didn't actually stream the award ceremony, does anyone know where all the results are for painting, ITC factions, etc.? I'm going to give some props out because a bunch of our Death or Glory boys. Matt Aaron won almost everything hobby track. He won the ITC hobby track and about a billion others. I roomed with him this weekend, and he had so many awards that we had to help him carry his awards. He was hurting his back from all the things that he won. Scott Ketchum won, made the Shadowrun, and also won Best Sisters for the year. And then, was it the year for the event? Whatever. He won some Best Sisters. And then Kyle Trail had Best Demons. So we were doing some stuff and things in there.
Oh yeah.
Well, and don't forget that we also had for our team, we had Mike Fox this year.
Well, I was just going with the wins. Mike Fox had multiple awards also with number 2 in the ITC track for the year in the world, rocking it out.
And then he won the Best Painted Award at Games Workshop Worlds in November. So we had
and he also won. I was saying he also won multiple single models too.
Yep.
So I mean, I think if we looked at all the teams of DOG, I think 13th Legion had the best year. Guys, back-to-back years crushed it for hobby track.
Oh, just
we are very much a good hobby track team. That's probably our mainstay. I gotta say that I'm proud of my guys for doing it because this year I was not as competitive. I did win Best Painted at Cruise Hammer. But outside of that, I didn't attend a ton of events this last year.
So they're saying that both me and you had an off year.
Hold on, I'm throwing out Evan. He goes, I got 3rd best AdMac, best army with the best fluff. You know what? Congratulations on with the AdMac. Also best fluff. These are Queensberry rules fighting. But we were killing it in hobby. I fell short of my goal, but I got so many seconds and things. I think I ended up 4th. I think they don't have the finals in the ITC rankings. They took the ITC rankings down.
Well, technically, the ITC is different now, right? That was the last event of it technically.
Well, now it's going to because the ITC GW officially took over. They did the award ceremony themselves, but they did take the rankings page, for instance. They take it down so they could announce all the stuff. But I would like to see where everything fell out because I didn't know how many points the last Vegas is worth.
It's also no longer the independent tournament circuit. It is now the international.
It hasn't been the independent tournament circuit all last season long. It was the international. GW has been heavily involved in ITC, as most people knew, for the last year. It's just finally official that they've taken over the running of it. They're not the owners. They didn't buy it out. It's just they are officially running it.
Right. Yeah. Well, I'm going to go to KR. He goes, KR, who won Renman? Sean Naden he's now got, I thought it was a 3-peat, but he's won it back-to-back Renman. Sean run Best Orcs, Best Renman, and I think he was up in Best Painted also. So he was one of the finalists in the painting stuff too. So he's just got a lock right now on Renman. He does wildly good. in the game, on the tabletop as a general, and then he backs it up with just a beautiful army too.
So, chances you think we get the data slate this week? LVO's over.
100%. I mean,
probably
maybe
Thursday.
Yeah,
I guess.
I was saying maybe not, but 100%. It is.
So,
Because we already gave you props, Kyle. You should have showed up on time. Kyle did win Best Demons.
Yep.
And again, Scott Ketchum won Best Sisters. So we had some stuff.
I asked you a question a moment ago, Brian, and we kind of got slightly off track. So you took this last year off. I took pretty much most of the year off. I already talked to Brad. I know I'm coming back full steam this season.
So I'm going to be playing a little bit more this year. I'm going to be playing at a few more events than I have in the last little bit, which I'm looking forward to. Going to be taking the events a little more seriously. I'll be playing less fluffy bunny lists and a little bit more solid tournament style lists.
Brad gave me the talk. Said no more, Tom. We're coming back. No more. You keep teasing us. You put your toe in. Ooh, I'll wait for it to get a little bit warmer.
Exactly. Toe keeps putting the toe in the pool, but then keep pulling it out.
Brad's like, listen, it'd be real shame if something happened to Wyatt. I'm like, why? He's like, been real shame if something happens to Wyatt. You got some choices. Uncle Wyatt loves Brad. It's easy to lure him with candy. Come on, Wyatt. Piece of candy. Come on over here.
But big event. I have to give a shout out to our boy Mike Anduff, Jersey Mike. I guess he's no longer Jersey Mike, but he's Vegas Mike. They really stepped up their game. The terrain was significantly better from last year. Still had some of the old orc boards and stuff like that for their backpack boards, but they had a ton of the new stuff that was really, really nice. So I have to give them props on that because the terrain had literally raised the bar a lot on it.
Hell yeah.
Which is good. I mean, it's as a TO, and as Tom knows as well, to continually update your terrain is the biggest pain in the butt, biggest expense, and the least thanked thing. But if you do it wrong once, it's the most talked about thing.
And it kills your next event.
Yeah, it kills your next event. So I'm glad they upped it. I hope they keep it going. I look forward to them doing a good job at Cherokee coming up. Hoping I can pull off making it down there.
So this is the thing, like everyone who wants to boycott LVO and act like they don't like player place training and all this stuff. Granted, player place training is like my least favorite. For the first year I've missed it since I've been back in the hobby. I regretted not going, even though I didn't really have a choice because I had to be for work. I was going to be at LVO this year, but work kind of screwed me last minute. I wish I was at the event. I was like, man.
Yeah, you know what I'm going to tell? That's the big thing that you missed, Tom. Remember when XBZ had us come and Alex Ig, one of our other boys, and I went and joined the XBZ guys down at Excalibur at medieval times, and they brought
the pictures. And I was like, oh shit!
And they brought 35 people with them in medieval times, dude. It was so great. We went back to Hell's Kitchen again. Beef Wellington, boom, was amazing. We just had a great time. It's always a good time, 100% KR. I'll be giving props out. Joe won the Paragon Award, something. Just basically the person that helps the community the most. Joe from War Games Live. And as always, his coverage was amazing. Props to the Canadian boys who were also there. I was on both streams. Love both of those guys. You really did a great job.
Which Canadian guys were there?
I forget what their streams got. You got me on the spot on that because I always forget which one they're called.
Was it Tabletop Live?
Yeah.
So the guys out of Buffalo, right?
They're Canadian. I thought they're Canadian guys.
I thought they were out of Buffalo.
They're somewhere in the north. It's all the same thing.
They're somewhere over in that Buffalonian lots of snow.
It snows.
Technically, Michigan's. Oh wait, you're not Michigan or Ohio. Never mind. So it is kind of north of you.
See,
I forgot you live in Ohio.
OH.
Yeah, but didn't they lose a game and then Michigan won it all or something? I don't know.
Won the natty.
Won the natty. All I heard was the Big Ten won the national championship. So shut your face.
Go blue.
So
speaking of Michigan sports, the Lions advanced into the NFC Championship for the first time since 1957. It's a great weekend to be a Michigan boy.
things are happening.
Yeah.
We watched that.
So, Brad, what would you say from your LVO experience? What was the one thing about your list that you were like, I should have changed that before I went? What was the takeaway?
No, it wasn't though, because I actually really liked what I took. I lost a game to Morsoli, and it was still what I wanted to take. I'm looking forward to the Codex, but I don't think I would change anything. Usually I have something that I would like to change on that, but with that orc list, it's for what I have right now on the orc index. I really like what I brought. So it was more of a, could have played a little bit better. Could have had the gods of dice treat me a little bit better, but like a little combo of both, you know what I mean? So he did. Morsoli played a great game, and I just needed a little bit of mojo, and I wouldn't have changed too much because the missions they ran with player place terrain and the missions they ran, it was really good to have melee and just things that could stand there, because you can just take fixed secondaries and a couple of those missions, you just do nothing because you can just block off two objectives and just say go. So it was pretty crazy on that. So
question: why did you choose not to run Gaz? What was your reasoning behind that?
I just expensive, and I'm allergic to expensive stuff.
Typical Brad shit. I mean, I had to twist his arm and put him in
100% for Marnius.
Just get him to do Marnius. He's like, oh, that's terrible.
He's still under 200 points. Matt Gaz is over 200 points. So whoa. Gaz in that tournament did work for Naden, specifically because he's infantry. You know what I mean? And you can just block that off. So he had a lot of value in there. I didn't know what I wanted to lose on that because I wanted to have enough trash to be able to have options in LVO. And I felt super strong. I mean, like the other, I had that one game go a little bit awry, but then my other 5 games I felt super strong. And I really wished I was going to make it into the top and didn't sneak it out.
I mean, you just can't do it. Get the game, man.
It's tough to make that top. I mean, it's such a big event, so many people, so many variables, that it's tough to make the top year after year after year. The people that do it, I give tons of credit to. You're very close every year in that top bracket. Naden's also, in that top bracket almost every year. It is a tough gauntlet to run.
And the year wasn't bad. I didn't put a super big year in, but I ended up top 5 in the world again. So I'm excited about that. The performance, I did well. I had the chance to pull everything together, and it just didn't well out. But it's nice to just have that chance. You know what I mean? It was exciting.
I mean, with the changes we're making in DOG this year, I think we have a fantastic chance of rebounding and doing well and keeping that streak going. So
it was a good time. And the thing is like I just had fun. I'm happy that I brought the orcs. The options were basically the CSM, the Necrons, and the orcs with an outsider for the Vanguard Marine list. And I still like the fact the orcs because of the fact at the end, I had a good time playing them. Orcs are just fun to play. So I had a good time.
I can say that the one thing that surprised a lot of people was the CSM not being in those top 4.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's that army was doing we had a lot of people doing really well. And I think the thing that I was kind of worried about if I took CSM was everybody was gunning for them. Everybody had tech for them. Everybody was playing a lot of games into them. You know what I mean? For their practice. And I think that shows a little bit, Yep. So
how do you think you would have felt if you had taken the Vanguard list?
I don't know if I could make it all the way through. Unless I added one more thing. I think the Vanguard list for me, I need to put in just a second hand-to-hand option. Like besides Marnius and aggressors, I need something else that punches in that type of meta environment. On GW train, it's a lot different, but with those missions, because people could just do nothing. Because of the fact that they played 2 priority targets, we played 1 Scorched Earth, and then we also played ritual for number 2, but it's player place terrain. So like I literally for ritual, you slam down a piece in the middle, and then you just create 2 objectives, and then you just have 3 objectives, and you just take teleport homers and cleanse, and you never walk outside of your building ever. So you have to have something that can go get people on those missions. So it's just really hard. So I didn't have a version of Vanguard that I was happy with for those missions. You know what I mean? I still think Vanguard's fantastic. It's just that for these player place terrain with these specific missions, I wasn't confident with it.
So, Brad, what did you think of the Tyranid list?
Give me a second here. We got Zach Leonard coming to the $5 super chat. Brad, I watched your stream game in LVO. Love the list. It was unfortunate about a couple things in that game, but what would you change in the list? I don't know. We were talking about that. I would have changed one thing that I play, the way I played it. I think I would have put Dirty Bad Ruck and the boys on the table because of the 4 attacks apiece and 5 attacks apiece during the WOG. They're just really good at picking up things like a Curse Cultist, but they're also really good at picking up. They're weirdly good in hand-to-hand because of Bad Ruck's -1 to your toughness aura. So they get a lot of wounds on shit. So but I've really liked the list. I really enjoyed the Squigog boys. Mazrog has been wild. Mazrog did Mazrog stuff. He was wildly good and terrible. He got one-shotted twice in the first 2 turns. He picked up Morty in one swing because I rolled some hot 6s on the devastating wounds on the jaws. But he does a lot of nothing sometimes, and other times he's a hero. So he was hilarious. The Squigog boys felt amazing, and when the book comes out, I don't know if I change anything for LVO, but coming up with the new Codex, I want to run more Beast Snagga stuff because I like the feel of that type of army, and I would like more of the bigger, burly Beast Snagga guys.
It was nice. The one thing, like comments from my local meta people as we discussed LVO, a lot of people were really happy to see big models make a little bit of a return in this, with the Monolith doing well, the Bane Shadow Sword Hammer Doom Gun Boat, whatever the hell it was called today.
Well, it's a big deal on that though, man. On some of those big things that can shoot with player place terrain, especially if your opponent makes any errors, you can open up some really big firing lanes and get value out of that, you know. Oh, 100%.
Guard went what, 6-0 into the shadow? Or 5-0 into the 5-1 in the shadow?
5-0-1 or 6-0, I couldn't remember. But he was getting work out of that. It's just he was opening the field up pretty big and then just bombing people on one side. Because when you're dropping them, we played multiples, you know, you basically open up one of the one of the objectives. You just slam your forest on it, and then anybody that goes there gets killed.
Nice.
But the thing
is, people keep saying in the chat, they're glad Joe got some recognition. The Warhammer Heroes thing is open right now for nominations. It would be great if the community just spammed the heck out of that to get him the Warhammer Hero Award, because if anyone deserves it, that guy deserves it.
Oh, he's literally putting... Go ahead.
Where's the Warhammer Heroes?
Warhammer Heroes is Games Workshop's way of recognizing community leaders who do things kind of selflessly to help and promote Warhammer and the community. And I think Joe's a great ambassador of that.
I can agree with that. Dude's awesome.
His stream's also badass, by the way. He's invested so much. Like from the start of him doing that to now, the camera quality and everything he's got. What I do, besides the fact that Joe's a great guy, like technically what he's done though, is he listened to people, which what I really like is he listened to people's feedback. Hey man, what could I do to make this more enjoyable for you? And he really upped his game.
Yeah, I mean,
I gotta read this from the chat. Corey,
I that one. I think Corey's message should stay in the chat window. That's about where it should stay.
All I know, I don't remember what I didn't even see what you said, and I will check it out though.
I'm gonna read it. because I think it's
No,
hilarious.
no, no. I'm talking about he must have texted me, and I definitely did not see it.
That I was trying to do a friend a favor and only had one simple question for said friend to be able to do him a favor, and he ignored me so he could write erotic carrot top fan fiction. Is he talking about you?
Of course he is.
Oh, just here, Brad. You were the chosen one.
I tried. I failed. I had a good time doing it though, and that's the key on that. Like I was a little bummed because I really felt that there was a time. The problem was that I had to win. If I won, I won so many things. If I won LVO, I finally win LVO. It's like the one tournament I won. I'd win LVO. I'd win ITC. I'd win Best Orcs. We would have won the best team. And I didn't do those things, so we didn't do any of those things. I was all or nothing. Basically, if I won the tournament, we won a bunch of stuff.
Where did we finish in teams? Second or third?
I think second. I don't know. They don't have the final rankings for everything.
Okay.
So I think I ended up with second. Personally, I ended up with second Space Wolves, second Orcs, and I think I'm fourth in final ITC rankings. And I think we're Death or Glory as a team was second to Ignite.
Kyle, I'm going to be posting about that either tonight or tomorrow, actually. DOG's focus is changing this year. So, long story short, and I'll give a small teaser. We are changing from an open community to a more organized team. So, doesn't mean that we're not going to be helping the community. Doesn't mean we're going to be pushing the community. We're still going to be pushing communities as much as we do now. But we're going to start developing and taking some of our players' times and helping bring up our other players. This is an idea from Brad, and bring in more organized so we can focus on our teammates. So for like the last 2 years as a team, we've just only been pushing community. And I think we spent more time trying to train and develop anyone we just talked to and just watch a lot of our teammates like just kind of idly by. So a lot of the top players have already agreed that we're going to start organizing practices and just trying to bring everyone up and have fun. And but we're still going to stay ambassadors for the community and do everything we can to help them out. Just try and help the team out too at the same time.
Well, I'm going to go with Joe Minamunda here, who we talked over the weekend. Fantastic. Had a good time. He says, so is the monolith only playable on player placed? I actually don't think that. I think that because of the fact that it has the old towering rule, you can touch the GW train and make it work. And in the Hyper, you can they got 3 good strats, the pull things out and things like that. The monolith is legit. It makes me have heart palpitations because of how much it costs, but it is OC8, and as you saw in that last game, if you make a deployment error, you can just boom 3-inch away steal something by just dropping OC8 on an objective, and it still has 1 billion wounds with possible 4-pinball. So it's also T13, so it's not a joke. You know what I mean?
I actually think the monolith is better on GW than player placed. I think if you're not familiar with the monolith, the other opposing player who's running it can set the train up to be very supportive of it. Or I'm not supporting, I'm sorry, blocking of it.
Well, especially in that corner in GW. If you play the actual GW train, you can just basically barely toe touch over and see over, and then you've got the option to always just pick it up and put it wherever the hell you want it.
I think with GW being static terrain, it can be harder to block it if you don't know what you're doing. So I just think it's better than GW.
I'm going to Mazda here. Brad is a cyber wolf, and Wolfguard has too many points for his trash. A lot of fake parts and really cheap. This does really encompass me, I have to say. Yes. Corey, good player for the team. I saw a homeless guy screaming at trees the other day wearing a Death or Glory jersey. Sometimes you got to scream at those trees, man.
Was Brad looking for food again?
Exactly. Was he screaming about turkey sandwiches? So could have just been me. So the Jesus. I'll just say it's going to be his year.
Over. I'm going to be the 2024 version of the 2022 Tom. I'm going to eat people. I'm a crazy person now. As long as you're better than the 2023 Tom who didn't show up to events, or my favorite, I had so many people yell at me because I go undefeated and then drop the last day. Like, yeah, I'm going to go hang out with my kid.
All I have to say is we're definitely bringing in the term Lila Bunga.
Here we go.
So yeah, I've seen the monolith on the GW terrain, and it's perfectly fine.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's legit. It's one of those things where it also has cool strats. I think Necrons did crazily well over the weekend, not just at LVO, but they've got a ship.
As harsh as their community was for the quote unquote nerf that came for Necrons.
Whatever, that was nothing. Literally nothing. I still think that.
Nothing. And then I give Matt a lot of credit because he just went, 30 Immortals? Yeah, they're still really good.
So hold on 1 second. For somebody who didn't watch LVO because I was busy at work, I've selected 4 times to talk about what did the monolith box card.
Okay, so first off, Folger just again let the monolith come in and touches home objectives. So Matt scored capture enemy outpost on turn 1.
Oh yeah.
And then Folger assaulted him with the Incarn, and then he double boxguard the saves on the Incarn's attacks. Just to add insult to injury, like, yo, what you can do about this monolith, huh? Come to my town, man. It's all the things. Oh, we're gonna have Kyle and Lyle fighting over to see who's the better Isle.
Well,
so of course, and I'm going to interrupt the stream right here to go, hey, please like and subscribe to our stream. It helps us out and keeps allowing us to make great content. So continue on.
Well, actually, you know what? I'm glad someone brought this up. What do you guys feel about the Dark Angel Codex?
I don't want to make a prediction because I haven't seen everything, but from what I've seen so far, it does look significantly weaker.
Yeah, I heard they got rid of command squads.
No command. Deathwing Knights are 1 billion points. They're 290 for 5, and their weapons hit like Brad, a wet noodle.
So I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Any book come out this edition where the points in the book matched what it said?
No,
in the storm.
100%, brother. That's why I think we have to wait to see exactly everything, because it all could have different shit. You know what I mean? Because their previews have never been in line with what actually we get. So we'll see on that.
My guess is when the field manual gets updated, when the balanced data slate drops, and all the points hit, it's going to be a vastly different point thing than what the book shows. Don't get me wrong. I think they lost some stuff, and it stinks that when you lose stuff. But not seeing it in tabletop action in the hands of a lot of players, you can't make a good determination. So
when we first got on this call and I was muted, Brian, I was actually talking to one of my best friends. He's also like my DM, and he's a little upset because he's been painting Dark Angels for like 6 months, and he's a guy that takes forever to paint, but his shit is like pristine. Like some of my heroes that when I run and people are like, damn, what did you guys paint? Was painted by him because he paints a lot of my heroes. He's like super legit, and he just had to win knocked out of a sale because like no command squad. I think he said something about the knights being capped at 5, and then a lot of things were nerfed. And I was like, man, I wish I can give you like more context, but I haven't read it yet. I've been waiting for the book, and the only thing I told him, and maybe I'm in the wrong perspective here, but it seems like they're really. And I did have a conversation with someone last week, which I name dropped him. But it seems like they're really pushing this power level to be around the same for everyone, which I kind of like. Because you looked at like Necrons. Everyone's talking about Necrons like it's not that good. It's underperforming, even though their win rate was like 58% or something like that. And they just won LVO. I thought Marines were a pretty good book. It feels like if everything's going to be around the same power level, this might be good for the hobby.
I mean, people were poo-pooing and bashing on the Tyranid Codex. Then Lennon went and won a big event. It top 4 LVO'd. And it's with the detachment, to be honest with you, both detachments each time were considered to be the greatest of the detachments. I would assume AdMech, whose win rate has been creeping up slowly overall, we're seeing the same thing as people are learning the tricks and nuances of the armies.
It's not even just that, though. I think it takes time for people to make a new identity for their army too, because a lot of these armies became different, you know what I mean? And the new detachments and everything else, they had to play slightly different and go to what their new strengths were.
Yep.
I think GW's actually listen to us. The biggest thing we've always had to complain about 40K is how lethal the game was. Like, you had too many games where like one player would just steamroll that wasn't playing in turn 1, turn 2 just because of the lethality of the game. Like, I mean, shit, Lyle was talking about earlier. Look at my 2022 season with Tau. How many tournaments you gonna watch me up right? And I was like done in round 2.
Oh Jesus, it was crazy.
It
I'm going to go to the wall on this because Anna makes a good point. I really enjoyed that the codices have largely all been pretty good here as compared to the wild variants of Ninth. Because we did, while I like Ninth at the end quite a bit, we did have a lot of roller coaster rides of nonsense books and overpowered books, you know what I mean? And so far it's been I think they've all been really playable. I really have enjoyed them so far.
We haven't had the one thing that everyone's always complained about for eons for 40K of Codex creep. Oh, you just wait till the next Codex comes out, it's going to be broken. Wait till the next Codex comes out, it's going to be more broken. Hasn't felt that way at all this edition. It's been, that's pretty balanced.
I mean, we've had a few outliers, but I think GW's been doing their best to correct them. And even though we look at Elder, who's still a boogeyman right now, I kind of really like GW's approach where they nerfed it, but they didn't nerf it probably as much as they need to, but they didn't over nerf it the first time around to where you just killed the Codex.
Like when they did. I mean, they've done that. They used to do that all the time. Like, remember when GSC got nerfed from 8th to 9th and just became like unbelievably unplayable for a while? Yeah. It's just.
Or Death Guard.
Yeah.
Like Death nerfed that one time and it went from like a decent Codex
to the bottom.
Like, built to like. If you play, how many times I play against someone with Death Card and your head's like, what can you do? It's like, I don't give a shit what Death Card can do.
Yeah.
I'm just going to roll it.
It's a big deal. Joe, isn't Necrons the best Codex of 10th? I would say that Necrons are probably the best Codex of 10th. They're also the newest, so everybody's finding out what the play into them is. So I think that we had them come out at a weird time because we had them come out in a time when we didn't have a lot of games to be played into them. I think they're a very strong codex, but I want to see
like
what
of 2022 when they came out just before LVO, and LVO they were running through stuff because no one knew how to play against them.
I don't think it's the best. I actually think it's on par with the other codexes. AdMech may be slightly behind the other codexes, but I think there's good lists in every one of them.
What's their run rate been like? I think they're a decent codex in this meta actually. Let's look up Meta Money. Let's pull up his website real quick.
I already got him up. I always have it up.
I got it up right now myself.
You know, Meta Monday, you are a fucking saint, and I'm gonna cuss for you there because you deserve it. You do us so much work.
Yeah, so I do, Anna, balance updates. Small movement saves lives, 100%. Steering, braking, and snowy roads. But it's a big deal in that. The Never-Ending Swarm, that was Sam Pope, by the way. We've been talking, well, hell, Brian, you and I have been talking about that for a while. Yeah, I really like that Horde list. I think it's so good in Tyranids.
Yeah, my list and his list had some minor differences. I didn't have Spine Fists in mine. I liked the idea of it. I just never got around to trying it out. But really interesting list idea. So many armies have innate problems with that. Chaos Space Marines kind of go, oh, that's a lot of bodies. I can't quite pick all that up in, a short go. Eldar, the current Eldar list, with the exception of the 3 Night Spinner lists, has a lot of problems against that because it's tough to pick that up with Wraithguard.
Sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you there, brother. Keep going.
No, it's all right. It's a really solid playable list, but it has boogeymen as well. If the aggressor bomb goes first against you, you can lose a couple of units. You have to properly screen yourself. You have to set yourself up. You have to choose secondaries correctly. But it's a good list, and it's fun, and it actually really plays an enjoyable game because at the end of the game, your opponent's probably killed a lot of models. You've still got a lot of models. You've killed some stuff. It's fun to play.
Wrong guy.
This is why we call Metamundi a saint. I was saying, I don't think it's that bad of a codex. And I look at his data, 17 players over the weekend at a 33% win rate. Rough. Absolutely rough. The highest win rate they had is the Cybernetica cohort at 42%. Oof.
It has some plays, but it also is tough to play. It also, I don't think a lot of people, because of the AdMech army is so expensive, that it's hard to basically turn to something different. You know what I mean? In that.
Absolutely. Like, we've been talking about the Horde AdMech army, where you run 60 Vanguard and 60, whatever the heck the name of the other one is.
You do Infiltrators, Vanguard, the Rangers, and it has play. It's just that a lot of people don't even have that. You know what I mean? The army's expensive.
120 guys at $60 for every 10 guys.
Yeah.
So there's $600 right there, and you're only 900 points into the list, with your characters, and you're just like, oh yeah, I still got to keep getting more stuff. It's a tough build.
Corey has good questions. Predictions. What does GW taking over ITC circuit going to mean to the players?
For the first year, absolutely nothing.
Moving forward, they're talking about really supporting people that do well, which is kind of nice, because they're talking about giving them a ton of free shit. I didn't see all of it, but they're talking about giving out some significant prizes for people. It's for faction specific, so I like that quite a bit. I'd rather see more like faction and hobby awards and stuff than just straight who won tournament or won overall kind of thing.
I think it's going to be fantastic for the players personally.
It's like they had the one thing I've heard in particular is their goal for this year is not to change anything. They're gonna look at the hobby side of it quite a bit apparently, but like on the way you get points, on the way tournaments are ranked, they're gonna do it. They're not gonna implement 3D printing policy, which is what a lot of people are fearful of. They have no talk or interest in doing that. They're not going to stop the independent tournament organizers from running the tournaments the way they want. Which is a big thing.
I think it's going to be a great thing for players personally. You look at like 2-3 years ago when we were talking about, we thought GW was just kind of hurt events like that. You look at us 2 or 3 years later, at least from like our community and what we're talking about. I think their events are the best to run. Their events are a lot of blast to go to. If you haven't been to a GW event, go to a GW event. They're the way they do things is pretty cool. I think they're going to put a lot of energy into the ITC. I think GW is for once, since at least as long as I've been in the hobby, and I've been in it since 5th edition, they're going full blown trying to support the tournament player. They're no longer saying this is a beer and pretzel game. They're trying to get the support. I think them taking over ITC, you're going to see better support to the independent tournament organizers to stay in the fold. A couple times that GW talked about this interest when they reached out to TOs before, because they reached out to me a couple times, and I'm sure Brian's one, a lot of other TOs about what they can do to keep us involved in it like that. There was a fear that when we first heard that IT's gonna be taking over, that a lot of TOs wouldn't want to be on board with it, and they'd want to just make different circuit stuff. Like, I think GW is just going to bring a better breath, and I think FLG, to their credit, I mean, in my opinion, they probably saved 40K. At one point, they're the only ones keeping alive for the competitive players, and FLG will always be, bona fide heroes for that. But it allows them to focus more on their events and to give the company that owns the product a chance to run a tournament scene, and I think it's exciting. If they mess it up and it's always down the road, people can rebuild another ITC. That's why ITC was built in the first place. But I don't think they're going to. I think it's going to be great for the hobby. I think it's going to be great for the players. And I think you'll see a lot better support thrown to the winners at events and stuff.
I like it, though. I like the fact that they support their events with a lot of people. I like one of the things I really do like about their events is they have a ton of employees there. So they have just people to take care of things, which is always a big deal because it just costs money for that, of course.
That's the one thing that I will say is, like, it, as a tournament organizer, Tom and I both know this, that it's not cheap to run an event. At the end of the day, you're lucky if you make a little money, and you're pretty happy with that. You mostly do it for the community, probably 99% of it.
Love of the game.
GW stepping in and doing a little bit more for the TOs would be amazing. But also giving the TOs the freedom to do their own things, from what I'm told, is part of their credo of, hey, look, run your event your way.
I don't think they're going to have that rule, Meta, just because, just like what Brian said, GW is about letting the independent TOs run their event, have control of their event. I think the days of GW trying to do things like that are behind them because they didn't get a lot of good publicity, and that's why other companies were starting to skyrocket because people wanted to support them just to snub GW. And GW, I think there has been a regime change, right? Everyone knows it in the last couple of years, and the people they brought in were people who ran independents. I mean, look at Mike Brandt, right? Mike Brandt ran Nova and other events for a long time. They brought in people who ran events that were popular, and I think they're doing a great job.
I mean, one of the big things I can say is, like, in my local area, right? I run events at an art store. We are going to be selling 3D printed resin and filament and stuff like that. How in any mind could they say to a store, "Hey, you can't have 3D printed at our tournaments"? And you'd be like, "Well, I sell 3D printed filament and resin. Why would I hurt my own business?" Right? I think it's one of those things of 3D printing here. I assume at GW Opens and GW specific run events that yes, they will have you have to have X amount GW.
Well, they used to, the old school thing was 75% GW back in the day.
Yep. That was way back in the day. And that was during like the times where we converted, deodorant sticks into land speeders.
Yeah. The thing is I do have a weird thing about this. Corey makes a good point in the fact that will GW, and this is just kind of a guess, they've had a real hard time keeping up with the demand for their own product. Will that change as they try to push, if they try to really push, you can only use their product, maybe not use only their product, but like if it goes a little bit more to their, say for instance, if they make their big events, like the old school rules, well, what are they going to do with those things that you can't get a hold of,
See,
it's always going to be tough on that. Now, for those who don't work in manufacturing and don't understand manufacturing, a lot of the manufacturing stuff has gone to, hey, look, we're making to the order. And they have to sometimes, especially with GW, predict the order on things. It's like if anyone would have said that Old World was going to sell at the rate that it sold at over the last week, I would have said, wow, that's a little crazy. I don't expect it to sell that well. We sold out from our store. I had to go take stuff out of our Amazon division's product. And today when I went back into the store after being off this weekend, I was like, oh, well, our Amazon division doesn't have any left because I took them all for the store. So, it sold remarkably well. Did I expect it to do that much? No. And part of that's forecasting on our behalf because GW, for those who don't know, GW says, hey, the stuff's coming out next week. The pre-order start on Saturday. We have to have our numbers in the GW that Tuesday, so 2 days later. So we really have to forecast demand. And part of it is that's driving some of the things of store owners are ordering what they think they can sell, on that initial wave, and GW produces to that or distributes to that. It's tough.
It's the thing is
like not too long ago that GW was amping up their manufacturing anyways.
Yeah, they were talking about in the chat. They were talking about the factory and all that. Yeah. I do agree that they could just literally just print money with STLs, but Mazda made a good point in the fact that if they start selling out, not selling off, but doing a lot of IP things with people where they'll make larger revenue, they might be doing more of that, because Anna makes a good point also, they could basically sell the rights or the models to other people to print things for them, kind of thing. Because right now,
I get you. And when I said you can make it 5 times the cost, but everyone who has STL just shares them. So you're going to get a ton of the people to pay for the STL, and then it's all shared.
Yeah,
there's actually ways to take a file, and once you use it, it goes away.
Either way, they're just not keeping up with production at all. Not even close. That's the thing. It's not like they're out of some stuff. You can get things for a year now. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's just crazy.
A couple kits, and this is not 40K related, but the Loon Shrine for Gloom Spike kits hasn't been available for over a year. Right? It's one of those models that hasn't been available. If you want Chaos War Dogs, I've seen them once in the last 8 months. It's one of those tough things. They only have so much production, and they keep pumping out new stuff because we demand new stuff as a community. So they either have to grow their manufacturing factory, which they have, apparently they have space to do. They talked about it in their year-end report, or they've got to prioritize what they're doing.
Also, scalping has become an issue. Like, every time I go to a tournament, local stores can't get in stock, but I can always find Amazon for 25% more.
Oh, those people, by the way, make me want to punch a baby. Stop.
Yeah.
They stop purchasing in bulk. They do it from multiple accounts, and they make it so the average person can't get it. Those people are pissing me off. I don't even want to go there. You know what? We're going to the wall. We're going to talk about fun shit.
Other talking about product. It was a good question, and we're getting towards the end. Meta Monday. Predictions.
Exactly where I was going.
Yep. Same spot I was going. Top 5 post data slate.
I'll give him props on this. Not only did Ben Urick let me borrow a bunch of his orcs to play over the weekend at LVO. I was asking everybody what they were most excited about in the codexes that are coming out this year. And one of his things, and this will go into the post data slate, is how hard they hit them. Because if they don't hit CSM at all or very hard when their codex comes out, which is not very far away, that army might be bonkersville. You know what I mean? If they don't do anything with the packs or the price, or some of the interactions with their strats and stuff like that, that army might just be like wild power level. That might be the first one that is just crazy town. So I really want to see what happens with CSM. I don't want anybody to get so hard they're unplayable. So Eldar is really going to depend on whether they leave them alone, except for Night Spinners and Yinkarn, which they could just do, and I think it would make the army fine. If they hit them too much, I know no one's going to have a tear in their eye, but if they hit them a little too much, that army just won't really be playable. It'll be bad. Maybe. It just depends on how hard they hit them. So I think that Necrons are probably not going to get touched that much because there's not enough data, to be honest with you. They don't have enough time.
The only thing I could see with them is the point costs on the Satans are a little low. Outside of that, I think the army's okay.
Yeah, but so when you're looking at what's going to get hit, it really depends on how hard they hit stuff. I'd like to see what they're going to do with, for instance, Drukhari. Are they going to do anything with Custodes? Or are they just going to make it so that you just wait for the Codex, which is, 3 more before they get Custodes on? So it depends on that, because I think the biggest changes in the last data slate were when they took League of Votann and Death Guard and pulled them from the bottom and drug them up. So I think that's going to be a bigger thing for me to see what's going to be in the mix than really how hard they're hitting the top. So what are your guys' thoughts on that?
If we're going to go with the top 5 armies, it's in more like honesty, it's going to stay Eldar. I assume they're still going to stay in the top because they have a lot of it's a deep index with a lot of good play. I think Tyranids, Necrons, Space Marines, and my guess is something a little off, but I'd probably go with Orcs would probably be the other one. I think that's going to be 4 things fall.
I think it's gonna be Marines. I think it's gonna be Necrons. I think it's gonna be Nids. I think probably Orcs, and I'm gonna pick a Codex towards the bottom that they're gonna try to pull up. I don't think it's gonna be Admech for some reason. I think it's gonna be Sisters.
I think Sisters is just fine.
Sisters is good. It's doing well. It's just that the fact is it just plays a very tradey, scory game. It's hard to play, but it's very rewarding.
It's a Codex that's doing well right now, not over exceeding, not under exceeding. I don't think they're going to get touched that much in the data slate personally, and I think because they're going to touch everything else, Sisters are just going to go up because of that.
Yeah, I hope that they don't touch Votann at all, to be honest with you, because I think Votann's got. We said this before, but I think Votann just has too few data slates that if they mess with it, it could really dump it. I think Eldar is possibly going to get destroyed. I think CSM might get ruined, or they might get the.
I think it's going to be just outside the top 5.
You think so? Because
I think they're going to get chosen, messed with, and a few other things. A couple strats will get messed with, hopefully. And then I think they'll still be really strong. I think it'll just be just outside top 5, though.
And I do think that Anna makes a point of that. Are sisters doing well because the Codex is solid? Are they doing well because of a handful of players? Mostly a handful of players, but it does have tools to play well.
Yep.
But you can't just bully. Sisters is not a data slate army
and
at
If you
all.
can play the strategic trade game, it's a good army for you.
Yeah.
Like Brad, if Brad only had to play one game a day and didn't have to worry about his brain, Brad would be a fantastic player.
I think sisters have so many options. They have like the ability to do things. They are definitely not somebody that's showing up and lining people up Braveheart style against
the
other
problem is
people.
nobody wants to loan Brad a sister's army because they know what it'll come back looking like.
Yeah, beautiful is what you mean. Lyle Dixon with a $2 super chat. Tau comes out like next month.
Is there a prettier time for me to come back to the hobby?
Oh, Codex Crute
Fruit party
and baby girls. Perfect time to come back. Look, I still got faith. She's been my background for a long time. Commander Shadow Sun. Excited.
House up for life.
House up for life. I didn't even play Tau this one because I didn't like the fact that I was basically forced to play. What's his name? I can't think of the guy's name.
Farsight.
Farsight. I was forced to basically play Farsight, and Shadow Sun just doesn't. She just they didn't do her justice. So
yeah, it is true. GW didn't nerf me, as Corey says. God nerfed Brad.
Honestly, I'm kind of excited for Crew coming up because they have such cool fluff in my opinion, and their model line just is so old and sucky.
That box set looks awesome. Who doesn't want Crute riding Crutox? That just looks badass. The model looks fantastic.
Just have one hope. Please, baby Jesus, do not make my suits unplayable. I love my suits. Don't touch them. Just make them playable.
I'm wondering how they're going to...
Infantry keyword would be nice. I love it. I'd immediately be back to Tau full time.
I do want to tell everybody that as soon as the the data slate goes live, whatever day it goes live, I will immediately be going live right after that. So it's really up to you.
Even if I'm at work, Brad, I will try and hop on with you.
Yeah, it's just as soon as that goes live, I want to talk about it.
The moment the slate goes live, I will not be with you.
I'll say you will be playing with not toys.
Yeah, working.
Luckily, part of my job is playing with toys, so it's all good.
Yeah, I mean, you could just run it off the advertisement for your work, so it's like a hand-in-hand for you. I couldn't do that. I mean, could you imagine me talking to my director in Michigan, like, so Mike, I want to go on and talk about toy soldiers. The fuck does that got to do with T-Mobile? It got nothing to do with it, but I'm going to talk about T-Mobile while I'm there.
I mean, you could put your logo up in the background; it'd be all good.
Come to Michigan, visit some of my stores in T-Mobile where we talk about the data slate.
What's the date on Cherokee? The end of February, correct?
It's in February.
I might go up there. I'm going to give a shout out to Blake, one of the guys I played. He said, he's like, you come down to Cherokee, I'll pick you up and get you a steak dinner, and we'll drive down together. He was a great dude.
Who was it?
Blake. He was the guy that was older than me at the tournament. I was like, oh, you're stealing Corey, my old man status.
If that little thing you put up there about 85-point screamer killers is true, I'd be shocked.
I'm actually itching to go to a big tournament and play series because the last couple of two I just kind of goofed off at and played day one. So I think I might try to make Cherokee this year.
I'm actually, I think that I really like Cherokee, by the way. We had a cabin, like a big cabin up in the mountains, and came down. It was really nice. I enjoyed Cherokee quite a bit. I was like really beautiful up there. It was really nice.
I can't go. It's 23rd through the 25th.
Yeah, it was a good time. It was a good time. It was a cool tournament. It was.
Brad, if I'm Cherokee, will you drive me down there?
Yes. You want to just call your mom now and tell her that we're not coming home?
You're not going home. By the way, spoiler, we're not making Cherokee either. Brad will probably crash and kill us halfway. I'm not even halfway, for being honest. About 20 minutes after we leave his house.
The only DOG member that's been immediately put in timeout and taken home. I didn't know where they were. But, oh God. Zoom's coming in. Awesome. Jesus. I'm just reading this. Check this. Elder just got a new strat where they dial up their T-Mobile with better nationwide coverage than major carriers, they get to make a free 7-inch move toward another Boost member.
That's it. You know what, Steve? Next time I see you, I'm buying you a drink. Whatever.
Fuck,
a
you're
great
killing
comment.
me. I'm gonna die now.
I know I'm supposed to run a regional call right now with all my store man, talk about the new promotions, but right now, guys, I really just want to go live and talk about Toy Soldiers.
Uh-oh. Let's go to JKM on this. I want to get one we can end on this. If I'm looking to do my first ever GT, what's one that I can't miss? Preference for Ohio? Hell yeah. Or Virginia, since there's nothing close to me here in New York.
Jake.
First off, you have the boys in New York, so that is an amazing event to do for a tournament.
Boys GT, you got the Salt City GT, one in Syracuse, one in Rochester. So we got kind of New York covered a little bit there. We were hoping to expand to Albany this year, but man, our venue's being a pain in the butt this year. But there's definitely stuff in New York.
And spoiler,
We're going.
I thought about taking a year off, but Brian Horton said, "Fuck you, Tom." MCM will continue, so MCM will be back this year too.
Yeah. The big thing is that this is how I look for my tournaments. What is going to be the best time, and how many people that I want to hang out with are going there? What the ease of where I can stay and things of that nature. You know what I mean? So
I think
go ahead.
I want to give one prop real quick, Jay. The most important thing to do when you go to a tournament, especially for your first tournament, meet people, be friendly, hang out. The best part of this hobby is the community.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I never have more fun. Don't get me wrong, I have fun playing the tournaments, but I never have any more fun than actually hanging out with the people and doing stupid, funny things and just blasting the weekend with. All my best memories are after hours, hanging out with all my friends. I mean, I met these two fucks in the channel through fun. And both these guys, if I ever came in trouble, I want to talk to, they'd be available to me anytime. I call either one of these two fucks. I'd be 2 o'clock in the morning just stressed out and to talk to me, or vice versa. Like, you meet some really good friends, and the tournament scene is all about being friendly. And you know, like, and you help put each other. Like when me and Brad became friends. You know, I was doing well in the tournament scene, but me and Brad became friends, and we practiced, and we just throw ideas off each other. And, you know, having friends like him and even Brian elevated my game, and vice versa. And it's just live the hobby to the fullest. And it starts with and begins with friends.
Absolutely.
Community.
This hobby that we are in, although we love the tournaments, and I as someone who runs the tournaments, plays in the tournaments, and has for forever, it feels like, the community and the friends you will meet here, you will have for the rest of your life, and they will pretty much do anything for you. I've met many of my best friends through this, and I can tell you that through thick and thin, they have been there for me, and it's just been great.
A perfect example. He's in chat. David Anderson, part of DOG, another Black Templar fanboy like me, one of the coolest fucking people I've ever met in this world, period. Not just in the hobby, but period. Very interesting, fun dude, super loyal friend. And MX, he walked up to me and ACO, and we kicked off in conversation. He's like, "Yo, I just want to talk about your ideas about this." It's sweet, awesome, cool. What do you think about this? And next time we're friends, we're teammates. Like, the community is 100% where you want to go.
Uh-oh. Live $5 Super Jet calling it out. Through the year of the DOG, 2024 is the year of the return of Jamis Togden.
Jamis Togden, that guy's definitely gone. Like, if there's ever a small chance,
look, man, we're gonna we cloned him like Emperor Palpatine, bro. We're doing this.
Why can't we just have the return of Thomas Togden and just have fun, right? Like, yeah, I won't go back to drinking nonstop. I want to be the sober guy having fun, and I actually remember most people I talked to. Funny story. Michael Irvin from our team, I've never met the guy in person except when Jamis Togden was around, comes up to Glass City and was like, I couldn't remember who he was. And he's like, yeah, you were drunk most of the time we talked, so I totally understand why you wouldn't remember. I'm like, this is why I don't drink anymore. This is why I don't drink.
Me too. So, but let's prop some stuff up.
The joke better.
Let's prop up what we do. So me, of course, like and subscribe, everything DOG. I've got the 40K Lorecast, which please, if you like lore, go take a look. Put crush on that out. Doing very well. It's making me happy. Tom is going to crush everything this year.
I miss the hobby track. I want to come back to the hobby. I want to have fun, go tournaments. I'm more looking forward to the after parties and having fun with people. But the thing I want to call out, baby girl Anna's running their first GT out of West Michigan.
At the new renovated place.
Yeah.
Brand new renovated place. She's put a ton of work into it. Been to a couple of her events. She is a fantastic organizer, an amazing pillar community. Actually, at the DOG Invitational, she's the first non-DOG to win our Pillar of the Community Award. She's amazing. I'm super excited to see their store and their community run the first GT. If you live in Michigan, Indiana, Illinois, check out their event. Tickets go on sale tomorrow or the day after, she was telling me. I will be advertising their link next week on here. If you want to see one hell of a store, one hell of a community, inclusive to everyone, and I mean everyone, check out their community, Valkyrie Gaming.
Also, I need a malt.
And a malt. They have a malt, old-fashioned malt ice cream shop connected, which is like historically famous in Michigan. It's amazing. It's just like, it's a great time.
I'm gonna have to go out on a limb and say that you might say something about the art store, Brian.
I mean, there's a chance I might say something about it. But the thing I will say is we are finalizing our venue for the Salt City GT, hopefully by the end of next week. So I should have the date officially announced up for that shortly. So looking forward to that. And of course, that is going to be a GW Golden Ticket event with 2 tickets for 40K, one for Age of Sigmar and one for Kill Team.
And then we kind of said a little bit earlier, MCM will be here this year. Me and Brian's working through some details. We will be announcing that soon. So,
rock and roll, everyone! It's time for a Queen's Wave.